Alrighty, let's start the stream. Hey slowpokes, it's Source 101. Welcome back to World Building Wednesdays, where we are actually world building on Wednesday. So last time 2 weeks ago, we left off doing tales, stories, myths, and cultural references. Or we left off before we got to that point. So now we're gonna do that. We got a bunch of things like demonstratives, we got the pronouns in place. We got number system, very nice. So yeah, now we can actually get into it. Hmm. Right. So we have druids, we have the exchange, we have what you are offering in the exchange and what is offered in the exchange. There's the world, there's the sky, there's pixies or spirits, which they don't understand yet. Because all of the metaphysical religious stuff is generally going to be passed down by druids first. Druids are going to access it. They're going to talk about it, and the way they interpret it here, or they talk about it here, sort of informs the common man's uh, interpretation of it. So yeah, we've got the world and the sky. We do have the sky, but we don't have the world yet. I'm gonna move this all down. Oop, copy that. I know the elements do trades and stuff like energy, but would they trade other stuff too? Like your site for 5 minutes? Oh yeah. Anything is up for grabs. Uh, gah, knock it off. That's already a thing. Why did it do that? Yeah, anything is up for grabs. About someone's marriage? Ah, I mean, if something wanted the marriage that badly, then sure. It's important to understand that druidic magic, it's not exactly commission, but it's based off a similar concept. So any concept, anything, any quality, any physical whatever can be offered in a druidic exchange, and it would function so long as both parties agree to it. Whereas the phi magic and whatnot, all of that's more specific than it. All right. Oh, here we have world. I'm actually going to refer to this as the sky, and this is the world because they're special. I'm gonna put them in bold too, just because they're major players in the mythology. Um, what should we call the world? Because I like how this has sort of it's a big root, so it definitely has a air of like grandeur to it. And I want that for the world as well. Like this already sounds like breathy. Teus. So we have Tewesir, Tewesil, Tewosos, Otshewas, Teweslik, Terslor. I guess the sun and the moon also have that going on, which I'm fine with. Uh, I want something for the world. Hmm. Hold on. Uh, Those are what I'm allowed to start it with. So, say word. And then the vowel. So, say word dear. I don't know. I don't want the vowels to mix. Too bad I suck at names. Uh, okay, so these sort of have a similar structure already with the ewa. So this would be sewe dear, sewe deal, sebo dos. We have oshewad. Yeah. Instrumental. We have. You see, this is another one. People can use the sky for guidance, right? They look up at the stars, they use it to tell the time of day and whatnot. But what do people use the world for? Like by means of the world. I think this is a good indication to hold on, let me type this out. This is Sabledeek. Um I think this is I don't get what you mean. Okay. So the sky, use the world. Yeah, this is the thing that I'm trying to talk about. I think people they cannot use the world to do something. But the instrumental case can also be interpreted as by means of the world, as in nature and physics and whatnot. And I think that is sort of a gateway into them talking about promises later. So, uh, this is by means of the world, as in some higher metaphysical. That's not how you spell it. Reason for the laws of nature, specifically, or I should say especially, when dealing with the physical world itself, separate from the sky. Some may value it more considering themselves part of the ecosystem, while some may see it as the earth or a place to get stuff. Right, right. All they know is the instrumental case means you're using it like a tool. So this word is very broad. Um, the way they are going to use it though is more keyed into specifically all of the fancy greater meaning stuff because the world and the sky are so important. And that also begs the question, the sky, I think this is going to have the same meaning as this, and the way that it would use the sky, as in the stars or the time of day, I think they're going to get from day and night. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to copy this. Oh, and then for the sky, I'm going to insert a note. The sky. Only dealing with the separate from the world. Awesome. And then this, I'm gonna insert a note. Time of day, etc. And then, frickin', I don't know what's up with my right click. And then this is stars and location. Okay, my right click seems to work now. Considerative. They can't really exchange it, but we'll still talk about it. So, say word lore. Is DL allowed? It is. Cool. So, say word lore. Gotta love technology screws you over for one day for no particular reason. For real. Oh, it's like an airplane or something. I've got my window open because I'm burning a candle, and I don't want the air quality to go bad. It's pumpkin and cinnamon. I'm getting into this fall flavors. Spooky month is approaching. Reminds me, I gotta do spooky Gilbert art at some point. Adjective, that is say we dear, say we deal. And Google turns out one random setting that's never been on before is on now. Yeah. Absolutive, that is pseudos. And then this is pseudolore. The W is elongated there, so pseudos and pseudolore versus pseudir and pseudil, or pseudos and pseudolore. Alright, so we got the world. So now we gotta talk about how they would talk about it. So the only people that can be druids are exceptionally fairy-like humans and exceptionally human-like fairies. So it's sort of the middle ground between the two. Obviously, fairy druids would be like have access to fairy magic as well as druidic magic, and human druids only have access to druidic magic. Hmm. Is that an issue? Is that something that should be fixed? Like, does it need to be balanced or whatever? Because the main character, Axe, the fairy guy, he's not a druid. He's just a fairy. Why do I use flesh colors for these mushrooms? Like God's flesh mushroom. But Kellen, it's a druid. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna let that go. So we need a word for druid, obviously. Druid. And the root for druid. I think for words like druid and promise, I kind of want to get them as close as possible to the English word druid and the English word promise. Just for like I don't know, lore reasons, not lore reasons. Aesthetics. So I just realized how suggesting it's but you're in too deep to change it. Uh, so what if that was what it was supposed to be the whole time? There we go. Druid. So we have, and also the druid. This has sort of a going along with the sky and the world. So it matches aesthetically. So proedir, proedo, proedil, proedos, ochoad. Oh, ochoad. Right? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Robot instrumental. That is pro will deek, and that looks vaguely like an insult. Considerative. That is troodlor. Adjective form. Troidir. Troidil. Tro. Yeah, it's trodos. Trolor. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure no one will notice. Except all of the people who watch the VOD. Okay. I'm not liking that. That doesn't look good. Hmm. Hmm. Is that already a thing I've used? I've used hen. I've used heng. I've used hem. I've used heck. What about in all of these? Henner. Alright. Um. Prem. Okay. Head. All of this. Nope. Okay. And then down here, epic, awesome, wonderful. I think actually going simple for this one will be better. So, Renier, Reniel, Chronos, Oshran, no, it has the R, it's fine, right? Yeah. Instrumental. This is Hurlnique. Hurlnique. This is this is Hernlore. That's a lot of. That's like what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 consonants. Hernlore. Hmm. And then we have Ren. Oh, sorry. Hrenio. Hrenio. Hruinos. And Hruinlore. Wow, what a well thought out world with all the history and shit. I'm sure each work took 2 hours each and carefully crafted. Listen, Hernlore is made with love, and Herbenlore may be a little special, but we love her anyways. Okay, time to figure out what the heck any of this means. um, so obviously, ergative case, absolutive case, that makes sense. Genitive case, uh, meaning of the thing. So, instrumental case, using a druid to perform an exchange. Or an exchange occurring by means of a druid. Yeah, they would talk about that. That seems like a thing they'd talk about. Considerative case. Obviously, considerative adjectives are perfectly fine and used everywhere. The considerative noun. A druid offering themselves in an exchange. It's not impossible, but it is not common. This might be used once in like a religious text or something. I'm just watching some fan of the book watching these VODs and their expectation of a professional made, fully crafted, Tolkien-esque world being made completely shattered. Man. I mean, that's what I'm here for. It is what I'm here for. Not, oop, not impossible. Almost never happens. May be used like once in a just text or something. Don't count on it. Okay. Now we need to talk about the exchange as an event. They would first, okay. So the way that I'm going about this is druids have always been a thing. So there really isn't an opportunity for the words to be introduced into the language so much as the people developing language from the start would have this happening within their communities. And it's not until way later that like druidism starts being all like shady and stuff. It would just evolve then. Yeah. So they're just gonna straight up have words meaning like the exchange and whatnot. And these words come from druids talking about it. But I think there we can still weasel in a word for it, right? Because the druids, they would have like a colloquial term. And then some druid would try to talk to the world about it, and the world would call it something else. And then they're like, oh shoot, this is like the title. So that means that one or some of these boxes is going to have something completely unrelated just because the world or the sky talked about it. So, the exchange. Hmm. It's gonna be a weird word. You got the good stuff, fire. We have. So here we would have. Oh, Nyagan near. Ah, Nyagan Neil. I gotta go in each time and. Noganos. Oshnagan. Instrumental case. That one, actually, I think the instrumental case is going to be used a lot. So, Nulgan, Nulgan, and considerative. You can't really exchange the exchange, right? Like, that's not a thing that happens. And the considerative adjective form would be the quality of the exchange. This would be the ability to do druid stuff. Which actually, yes, can be exchanged via druidic magic. So we'll keep that one, but this isn't a thing. There's no considerative noun form. I mean, I'm still going to write it down for the sake of completionist, but Nurgen. Nurgen. So the druid can sell their ability to make deals? Yeah. Yes, they can. Would they? No. It'd be dumb, but they can. Uh, so this is Nurgenlore. Nurgenlore. It's everyone's favorite word, Nurgenlore. Okay. So, considerative, this is Ngugen. 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 This is Ngugenlore. We've got Nigenier. Nigeniel. If they're in a life or death situation, you'll die anyway. Might as well make the good deal and try and survive. Ah, wait. Kneel. This is Gwigenos. I can't. I cannot say that word fast. Gwigen. So we got silly songs with Morgante and silly words with Tortoise. And welcome back to Silly Songs with Morgante, where we join Morgante in singing some silly songs. That's one of my favorite bits from Cassette Beasts, honestly. I find that funny. Okay. So one of these words is not like the other because it comes from the world and the sky and what they call it. Here's the thing. Would they use a fairy word for it? Because the universe, the laws of physics and stuff, the humans don't know it yet, but it operates based off of promises and pixies. So would the fairies, the people of the promises, the promised people, if you will, talk like use it to would the universe use their words for it? I don't know. I don't know. But I'm thinking hmm they're going to use instrumental form the most by means of the exchange. Like I offer this by means of the exchange or I gained this by means of the exchange. So I'm thinking the instrumental form is the one that the world and the sky used. Hmm. What if the word they use for it is something like Yolar, but they don't have the sound Y in their phonemic inventory, so they have to approximate it, like Eolar. Someday we all sing our last silly song with Morgante. No! The ineffability of time. Does that look dumb? It doesn't follow their thing. It doesn't follow their photo tactics. Eholar. That works, right? Yeah. E-O-R. Sure. Eholar. It looks very out of place, and that's because it is. Yolar. Comes from the word that world and the sky. Iholar? It's Iholar. But it comes from the word Yolar, spelled Jolar. Because often you see J being used as the palatal approximant, or the Y sound, in this type of stuff. So, Iholar is this language's approximation. Alright, alright, alright. Cool, cool, cool. So, what do we do now? We've got the world, we've got the sky, we've got the exchange. Now we gotta talk about, we got druids. We gotta talk about these two. What you're offering and what is offered. Oh, using the edit menus, install this Google Chrome extension to your browser. What? No. I've been doing it just fine this whole time. What is exchange, or what is offered and what is granted? It would come from the considerative. So lore. Is there a word for thing? Or just like a blank noun? Not yet. Um, hmm. Nature, I give you my energy to make me high. Nature would have to agree to it. And ooh, wait. We have the to and from stuff, right? Towards and away. So the towards it's what you're giving, or is what being granted, and then away is what you're giving up, like you're giving it away. Jeez, what is going on? People are doing stuff. Okay. The elements be like one immortal entity or force. It's each thing, each concept. Nature is a thing, a tree is a thing, the concept of time is a thing, the sky is a thing, the world is a thing. What you're interacting with depends on what you're interacting with. Of course, all of these stuff like weave together to create the physical world, right? So it doesn't really matter what, like, if you're going to the day and you're like, "Hey, day, can you give me a little bit of warmth?" And the day is like, "Nah." And then you go to the sun specifically and it's like, "Hey, the sun, can you give me a little bit of warmth?" It's like, dude, you just asked the day and the day said no. I mean, I'm not the day, but like, dude, what the heck? Like the force my great grandfather will be the same force you meet. Oh wait. So like that element will always be the same force. Um Everything is sort of dynamic because everything grows and changes. Like the world that these guys interact, like this guy, the world, that these guys interact with, and the world that, let's say the people of Osh interact with down the line. It's still the same, the world, like it's the same guy, right? But this dude can undergo changes throughout history because it's also a dynamic character in a sense. So the world probably remembers your great grandfather, but it might not have the same whims or whatnot. It's like glaciers. Glaciers were here and now they're not. At some point, the whole bunch of things got together and we're like, yeah, glaciers is a good idea. And then over the course of time, that changed and it was like, hey, maybe glaciers aren't really in right now. So talk is the thing that you're giving up. No, it's the thing that. What if all the water evaporated? Would water be dead as an element? Well, no, it would just be gas now. If it evaporated, it turns into vapor. It's still there. Everything's just very humid because water wants to be air now, I guess. I don't know that water would ever do that. Water doesn't really seem like the type to really want to be air all the time. But I mean, it could, I guess. It could just decide to be a gas now if it really wanted to. But you gotta understand, a lot of the reason that things are the way they are is because they want to be. Wouldn't gas already exist though? Well, gas is a state of matter, I mean. Like, if all of the water in the world collectively was like, hey, we should all become the state of matter gas, and then they all were like chill with it, then they would be the state of matter gas. But not all the water wants to be, is my point. Wouldn't gas already exist though? I mean, sure, but that's the difference between the day and the sun. All gaseous thing, ex- talking to stuff that broad, right? Because the more specific you get, the more like focused the essence of the element is, right? Like, I'm talking to this rock. This rock is going to have different motives than every other rock. Unfortunately, I mean, it could have different motives than every other rock. And I'm not talking about the concept of rock collectively as a whole. I'm talking to this object here, right? I mean, it doesn't have any difference in motives. It just wants to sit there and be a rock, which I'm fine, I guess. But it could, because it's distinct. But if you're talking like, I am talking to the state of being solid, it's gonna be all like vague and concepty and broad, and you're not really going to get much anywhere when talking to it as a druid. Of course, you're not actually talking to it, but like talking to it, right? You're not really gonna get anywhere. So there'd be two gas forces, like evaporation gas. No, it's you could talk to anything. That doesn't mean it's going to be productive, right? So you could talk to the concept of the force of nature that is the physical state of matter being gas. But it's going to be vague and difficult to talk to because it's a vague and difficult concept. Like you can get it, but that is all the state that is the state of gas everywhere that you're talking to. It's all spread out. It's all everywhere. It's busy being gas, you know? Trying to ask if the element were to be gone, would it be dead? If water as a concept was immediately and spontaneously removed from the entire universe, you would not be able to discuss things with it because it's not there. It's got to be there for you to talk to it, you know? You can't really talk to the day when it's at night because the day isn't there. It's in a different place. It's not really a dead element so much as it stops being available to you. Its contact is removed from your phone. And I suppose we can really get into the nitty-gritty of how the exchange works, like how it's started, like how a druid initiates an exchange. But I think having that sort of be like open-ended gives it more like of a magic quality to it. What is offered? This is what you're giving away. That is Erid. Erid. Uh, what is granted? This is Taklor. Now I need to actually make these roots so that it functions. What if what if it there were multiple vowels in different places, right? What if I did this? So this would be Eradler or Eradlerir, and this would be Eradler. Oh, that's capital. Eradleril. This would be Orad Loros. Orad Loros. This is the genitive form. That's Osharad Lar. Instrumental, we have this is L, so Lurad Lur Lurad Lurik. Considerative, we have Rurada 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 Rada 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 Rada. Schnitzel type beat. Rodler. Yeah, so you really don't. Frick, I need to make this, that one. And then this also that as well, because that's not a thing. You're not gonna talk about what is offered, like, oh, well, this already, the entire thing is already considerative, right? Specifying that it's the considerative actually removes information here because what you're looking for in this word is the rest of it. Buffalo, but would rot be an element? Um, you keep using the word element. I think that's sort of a like I get what you're saying, but that's sort of like a reductive of what it actually is. And of course, they need a word to describe it too, and so I'm gonna have to come up with it. But like a rock, a specific rock is a thing you can talk to. Stone as a material is a thing you can talk to. Uh, a mountain is a thing you can talk to. The solid state of matter is a thing you can talk to. All matter is a thing you can talk to. But you get like less and less stuff here. So more specific, less specific. And here, if the defendant was your defense against the plaintiff, rada rada rada. So like here, more specific, a rock, right? You're gonna get like words out of this guy. I mean, he's not gonna have much to say. He's a rock, but you're going to get somewhere with this exchange. You're going to be able to get a definite quality of it and give it wants a quality from you maybe. But the higher up you go, like a rock may have more specific ones than all stone ever, right? So a person's finger could be talked to. Sure. You could talk to someone's finger, but that finger is likely going to want to be the person, you know? Like a part of the person still. So, and then you could also exchange with a person, but that looks very much like a regular exchange. It's just like magically reinforced. Um, so the more specific you get in who or what you're talking to, the better you're going to be at the exchange. Because a rock is going to have wants and desires more so than stone is. Stone wants to keep being stone. Stone doesn't really want stuff. It's stone, right? The solid state of matter, you're not matter all of matter everywhere. You're not going to get words. You're going to get vague like impressions of what it could maybe want, kind of, but you as a specific are not going to be able to interact with it on the same level. So two guys standing still talking to each other, telepathically speaking to make a deal. No, it's not telepathically. It's through a separate thing entirely. It's through the exchange. Um, the way that a druid initiates the exchange with everything is going to be slightly different. But due to the fact that they are a druid, they're going to know how to do it. With a person, you're going to talk to them. You're just going to talk to the person. That's how an exchange works with people. For a dog, you're going to talk to the dog, right? And you're going to get specific impressions on what the dog wants because it's also going with the exchange, right? With a stone, the way a stone communicates is different than the way a dog communicates, is different than the way a human communicates, but through the exchange, for the purposes of the exchange itself, the druid's going to get it, and the druid's going to be able to communicate back for the exchange, specifically. Outside of that, druids can't talk to animals, unless they have an ability, unless they have exchanged the ability to talk to animals. But the exchange is a different kind of communication altogether. It's its own thing. And that's why the more specific, or the more of an identity something has, the easier it is to talk to. So a rock has more identity than matter. And actually, a druid is like here. This is where druids are, right? But the world, right? The world is like here. So the world would be able to engage with matter as easily as a druid can interact with a rock. But the druid isn't going to be able to interact with matter like the world can, because the druid's all the way over here. The world, I guess the world is more here. But the world doesn't really want to be doing all this exchange stuff because the world as a thing of nature it's more similar to Phi magic than it is druidic magic. Druidic magic happens when these things interact with druids. But when they interact with each other, say the forces of nature and gravity and the electromagnetic force, all of that stuff is handled through Phi magic. Or some equivalent of Phi magic. Obviously, they aren't fairies, so they're not going to get Phi magic specifically, but they do operate through commission. I hope that cleared literally anything up. I know that was sort of a word vomit, but adjectives, yay, adjectives. So Iradlir, Iradlir, Iradlil. Oop, Iradlir, Iradir real, Iradlirial. That's a mouthful. Absolutive Rod, Rodlur, Rodlur. Wow. Okay. Wurad Luros. I gotta break this down into the different things. So ear, rod, lore. So or, odd, lore, os. So this is were, odd, lure, ros. Yo, I still don't get this at all. Welcome to the party. Did add complexity to the language. What do we do? Learad. Learad here. Yeah. Considerative the quality of the thing that is offered. But then again, you're not it gives less information. I mean, you could still use it when talking about it vaguely, sure. But actually, you're still going to get more information from all of this stuff here. So I think this is also a no-go. I'm still going to write it down though. So we have rod lore. Oh, and then this is lore. Rodler lore. And Rodler lore. Don't worry, even Torch doesn't understand it fully, so he's still making it. Yeah. This is more of that stuff. Okay. I need to my fan is disintegrating. Need to move this back over here. Turn this fan on because it's getting toasty. Oh, there we go. Candle smells good. All right, now it's time for this other one that is more complicated. Tickler. Oh, sorry. That's Ticklerier. Tickleriel. Absolutive is sorry. Tokloros. What would you do for a Tokloros bar? Um, Oat. Glar. Ah, instrumental. We have no. We have Tokler. Then. Wait, hold on. Wait, there's one vowel here. Caloric. I mean, technically, this L and this L here are acting as the nucleus, so those are like semi-vowels, but is that Mr. Tokler? You know what? It's my favorite author, J.R.R. Tokleros. Author of Rulad Rulor of the Rings. Oh, this is so cursed. It worked for Tokleros. He's a fraud. Uh, uh, Frickin' this is Turk lore. I gotta say that's the hardest I heard Tortoise laugh. It's silly. Alright. Down here the adjectives. Adjective land. Ticklerier. Tickleriel. Uh Wook lure luros. What is this? Equiluros. I mean, obviously these words aren't that common because druids aren't that common, so it's fine if they're complicated. But damn, that is a beast. Twickluros. Twickluros. Alright, considerative. Twickluor. Twickluor. Okay, cool. So we've got all of that. Gotta talk about pixies and spirits. Nope, gotta use the keyboard shortcuts, otherwise it gets mad. The Art of Promises kid in the future. Who made these words so complex? Why does my school teach me these words like Toklerois? You'll make a badass villain because that's the best part of a book. I feel so. Man, I can't wait for the future. Alright, spirit. We're just gonna do this. Animate. We have Pexier, Pexiel. Finally, some normal words. Jeez. We have Poxos. Uh, I'd forgotten why. Oh, man. Actually, hmm. Would that follow the phonotactics? Hmm. It would work, but it would be a stretch. Why is the troll face not an emoji? It would be perfect right now. Real. Oh. Opox. Instrumental by means of a spirit. Ooh. This is Pulxi, and this is Perkslore. Considerative. Can you considerative pixies? I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no, you can't, and here's why. So the reason that stuff has pixies in it is because the Game Force try I don't care. Um is because the all of the different things, right, have use commission like the fairies do in order to define how they interact with each other. Because otherwise, stuff could just start falling upwards if it wanted to, but it's not allowed to because it promised that it would fall downwards. So when that happens, pixies are generated. In this case, they'd be called nature pixies. Are generated to make sure the item or the thing in question, I should say, holds to its promises. It's to keep it in check, pretty much, like a little police. So you can't really exchange a pixie with something because it's not gonna go, right? It's bound to thing. I mean, you could take it, it would die. The thing would then. Oh wait, because you see, that's how runestones are made. Runestones are items that have broken their promises. But no, um, nothing wants to get rid of its pixie. Just flat out. Hmm. So, freaking what do we do with the word about it? That's Trek from Timu. I did it's because the dark didn't hide me from the watchful eyes of parents. Damn, rebellious. Forgot from the UK. A British. What the heck is a kilometer? Um, what do we do about this? A considerative, because I should still make them, but they're not used here. We'll have it marked like that, like the other stuff. Adjective. Pixier. Pixel. This is Puxos. Gotta go for 10. Good luck. Good luck, soldier. And this is Puxlor. Puxlor, right? Yeah. Awesome. So that's cool. So they call pixies spirits. So we're about an hour in. We've got definitely stuff from specific like druid culture and whatnot worked out. Now we gotta talk about how they act, and we gotta get like myths and cultural references and stuff. So, is 9 considered late? For me, it's 4 p.m. I'm over here in the States, and I usually try to like head to bed at 9. I'm an old man. Well, not a man, but you get the point. So, what what do we do now? Cultural references. So, Pix, I am your father. There you go. Cultural reference. We did it. We've referenced culture. All right, let's come up with some myths. We need a creation myth. How did the world come into birth? So here's some major players in the mythology. We have the world. We have the sky. The people, and most of their mythology is going to come from druids talking about what they're doing and how the world works according like how they interpret the world working, and then that's going to sort of get blown up into druid stuff. I mean, there was nothing but that Pix said, "Let there be light." Damn, another creation. We've referenced culture. I think. Hmm. So, what would druids pick up talking to the world in the sky? What does the world want? Motives. The world. The what does the world want? What does the sky want? Money. I don't know. What would the world want? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because when we're talking about religion, generally people say the world came into existence because the specific deities of that religion wanted there to be a thing. But this is the thing, right? The world wanted to exist and therefore it did. It thinks, therefore it is. Um, the world had a lot on its plate, so it wanted to delegate. It wanted other people, other things around to do all sorts of stuff, and that's why there are ecosystems and ecological niches, because it wanted something else to do some of the work for it. It perhaps control a body, like it won vessels, kind of. Yeah, kind of like this. So the world has a lot on its plate. Its plate. Man, what are they doing? Construction or whatever. So that's why it does all sorts of, it makes animals, it makes grass, it does, well, it doesn't make these things in the tradition. I'm not going to be able to explain this part. It did not make those things. Those things as a part of the world, wanted to be their own thing because the world wanted to delegate. Started AM without the whole human genocide thing, but instead the opposite. I don't know what AM is. I'm not gonna go into how this happened. Honestly, I'm gonna leave this part vague. The world wanted to delegate stuff, and therefore it did. We'll leave it at that. Can the world do that? No. The druids know the world doesn't have that ability. But it happened. So something made it happen. I have no mouth and I must scream antagonist. Maybe. I've never actually read I have no mouth and I must scream. I've heard that it is very disturbing. So what is the sky's motives? The sky. Thinking about it, the sky is the atmosphere of this one planet. So... Hmm. I'm gonna think on this. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Toto. Alright. Welcome, Duck. Glad to have you. Alrighty. Let's get back into it. Good Royce token. Alright, what does the sky want? So what struggles does the sky have? Well, the sky has to be the sky. Oh, you know what? The sky feels detached from everything. And so what it wants is it wants to be closer to where all the action's happening. Wants action. The sky doesn't do much. Or the sky isn't lonely. But it has a limited ability to do stuff. It's action. It wants to be where all the things are. So maybe that's why I made birds other flying creatures. Yeah. Well, again, it's not really. They didn't. It's hard to explain. The world didn't make all the stuff, right? It simply delegated its roles to the things, right? But there wasn't stuff there before it started delegating. So it didn't make all of the stuff, but also before it started interacting with them, they weren't there. Oh, yeah, it's more like the world is more of a coalition of various other concepts, or like a car. Yeah. Exactly. So the sky is sort of in the same boat. It doesn't make birds, but it allows birds to do stuff, and then it sort of acts through the birds. Like, it gives birds the ability to fly, so that it can do aerodynamics, and birds can create airfoils and generate lift because the sky thinks it's fun. So there we go. We got those things. So how would a druid interact with all of this stuff? So a druid trying to interact, it would have an easier time interacting with the sky than the world. The world doesn't want more stuff from the druid, right? It wants to give away stuff for it to, like, it wants to give away its responsibilities. But of course a druid doesn't really want responsibilities. So it sort of has to act as, like, sort of a patron, if you will, like a one-off thing. Sure, a car is an object, but within a car it's made up of multiple different pieces that all do their own thing, like suspension is going to separate from a cooling mechanism. Yes, exactly. Except the fact that the car was there first, and all of the stuff happened, like, generated elsewhere because it was in the car. It's like a car in reverse. You know? Anti-car. Negative car. Right. So, what would the world give to a druid? The world would give the druid not what it wanted. What sort of stuff could you ask the world to do? It would have to go under, like, people saying, this is just how the world works. You know? So, if it's just how the world works, how do you offload that onto a druid? Bend the laws of the world a bit. Right, but the laws of physics and whatnot is handled by pixies in each individual thing, each individual object. That stone has a pixie that keeps it following all of its promises, which is different than another stone's different pixie that does the same stuff. Ooh, you know what? You know what? Actually, you know what? Um, what if instead of the exchange being some sort of telepathic whatever, the only way for the exchange to happen is through a druid talking to something's pixie, right? Welcome back. You didn't miss much. What if a druid had to talk to the pixie, sort of like the object lawyer, if you will? Since the world themed around promises, how would the world and druids make deals in physical acts? Ooh, that's good. That's good. So the druid would want physical things to happen in the world, and the world would pull its strings and use its influences to make it happen. So long as the druid fulfills the quest or request of the world gives it. Like, I'll give you this power if you shift dirt in this location. Yeah, like a reward for a quest. So the world, I'm still a little caught up on um this pixie thing. Should the exchange be some sort of vague communication based off of identity or whatever, or should pixies be like the lawyers making sure? Well, no, no, because in the thing that I've got, the plot here, Kellen talks to fire, and it has to deal with what the fire wants. There's no fire pixie here making sure it has a good deal, even though there technically is a fire pixie in the fire, like as a part of it, metaphysically. Kellen isn't talking to the pixie. It's talking to the fire. So druids draw power from the earth and natural energies in the world. Yeah, kinda. It has to deal with. Oh, I got rid of the thing. It has to deal with how much identity the specific thing has. Like, a druid is going to be able to make an exchange with a stone a lot easier than the concept of matter, because the matter is only going to talk in matter terms and through matter means, which the druid isn't even going to be able to, like. It's not on the same level. But a stone is fine. A mountain is fine ish. It's big and scary. The sun, right? Like, that's just the one thing. Um, it's a big, huge, big, powerful thing, but it's just the one thing, right? But if you're gonna talk to, I don't know, the state of gas, like the physical gas state of matter, you're going to have way harder of a time than talking to the day. What is the identity thing? Um, it's something I thought up as a way to explain it. So a stone has a more identity, if you will, than all stone as a material, right? The material stone, a single stone, right? Because this is one object, but here you're talking to a set of things that is spread throughout the universe. A thing can be talked to. Sorry, yeah. So a single stone has more, we'll call it identity, than the material stone, but the material of stone has more identity uh than solid matter. All solid matter everywhere. Yeah, it's more concentrated here, and that makes it easier to talk to. So the sun would be like a god. It would have some identity, right? It would be concentrated, but because it's such a big influential thing, then yeah, it would be crazy powerful. I mean, everything's kind of like a god. Yeah, kind of. So I guess it's the concentration of identity. Now, a druid, right, has somewhere around here. Druids can sort of interact with this stuff easily. But the world would have a better time off with all of this stuff. Because the world is, like, encapsulates so many things. Like a hierarchy kind of, yeah. But it's sort of a vague, nuanced, messy hierarchy. It's not exactly set in stone, but this sort of line of reasoning holds true throughout all things. So like the world would be able to talk to solid matter everywhere better than a druid can. But a druid probably has more agency over a single stone than the entire world does. This is I'm just going to throw that over here. So, when we're talking about myths, like we're right now trying to come up with a creation myth for everything. Um Druids would pick up on the idea that the world wants to delegate stuff and that it's got a lot on its plate. Because the world isn't going to info dump to every druid that comes along, right? It's got too much. It's too busy for that. The world is very busy all the time. So what it would do is it would just be like, all right, I'm gonna give you this big boon of mine, right? For you to go over here and do this thing for me. I got other stuff to worry about. And the druid sort of picks that up as like a personal quest. Although that's more of a promise thing than a druid thing. I mean, druids can still do that, I suppose. But druids operate more on a lower level than that. Like I get strong, like I give you my strength, right? So you the fire can burn bigger. And in return you give me heat so I can make stuff hot. That's more of like a druid's level of exchange. Um so maybe, oh shoot, maybe what the world would want from a druid is its concentrated identity, which is big words, but basically the druid can interact with a single stone a lot easier than the world can. And the world can interact with solid matter as a whole a lot easier than the druid can because of the difference in like identity there. Um so maybe the world would be, instead of asking the druid to go take over a rock, right? The it would ask of the druid for its sort of like agency in the world. So for a time, the druid would essentially, I don't know, be like a ghost. Hmm. Oh, you know what the world would do? It would be like, hey, give me your body for a bit, and then I will grant you this thing afterwards. Um, for the exact amount of time that I occupied your body. And the druid would be like, oh, okay. And so the world would then use the druid as sort of like an avatar to go around, mess with all of these things that it needs to check up on, whatever. And then it would give the druid its body back, give the druid their body back, and then the druid would get what it asked for. Yeah. Acts of kindness. I've done all of these green thumb things, so I deserve some reward. No, the world wouldn't care about that. The world would be like, you don't deserve nothing. Congratulations, you're a good person. That's your reward. You don't suck. The world has bigger stuff to worry about than freaking Tony being nice to a puppy or whatever. So, okay. The world would give Druid rent Druid body for agency. What would it give the druid in return? Oh, dip. The world would give the druid leeway. So, okay, what I mean like that is the druid becomes a little untethered. Oh, wait, no. No, it has to be something that the world has. The world doesn't really have leeway like that. So it wouldn't be like less gravity for you or like you're lucky now because it has to be something that the world has. The world has connections. Like everything is a part of the world. Huh. Oh, scope. The druid would be able to know of things going on in the world. So, rent druid body in return gives the druid higher knowledge of the goings on of the world. There you go. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of chat. It's like you don't break your bones if you jump 3 meters. That's like environment like a way to keep the whole leeway. Like I will make this quicksand not work for you. Well, the quicksand has to work, right? And that's why the world gave that purpose to quicksand. Was so that the world didn't have to do it. The quicksand could do the doing of it. The dragging of stuff down. So the world doesn't really have access to that anymore because it has delegated. I mean, sure, it can order stuff around, but the more it uses that, the less stuff is going to listen to it. Because it's like, what the heck, man? You said I could do my own. You said I could do this thing. And now you're like taking that out of my hands. What? And then things aren't going to listen to the world a whole lot better. And that's just a bad deal for the world overall. I think this higher knowledge, right? Because, like, the druid could be like, hey, I need to know what the heck is going on. Like, there's all sorts of these natural disasters. Like, how is the stuff moving? Like, when are the seasons gonna happen? All of that stuff. And the world knows of it, right? Because it is like overseeing as all of the other things in the world do their part to make it happen. And it can just sort of give that like seeing to the druid for a bit. What is the world? Exactly what it sounds like. The world is the personification of the world. So all the goings on, all the ecosystems, all of the mechanisms, the rules of nature, this is how the world works. When you say this is how the world, but it seems like it thinks, it's because it does. Um, all things have motives and desires and what they want out of life. Um, Fire wants to burn bright, so giving it your strength. So what? So it's sentient, in a manner of speaking. It's not so much sentient as it is having motives and desires, and what it wants to do and how it works is just a thing that all things have in this world. Yeah. So it's not so much that like, oh, these things are like people now. It's that all things have always been like that, and so are people. That's sort of how this book is handling it. Um, so what would the sky give you? The sky wants stuff to happen. It wants to be where all the things are, as I have said here. Um, so the world would use the druid as a real doer, a real go getter. The sky wouldn't doesn't like need things to happen. It just wants to be where all the things currently are happening. So it would probably give flight. It's like, hey, you guys, leave the ground for a bit. Enter the sky. Be around here. Come chill. I've got a PS2. That kind of stuff. That seems like something the sky would want. So it would grant flight, or detachment, and in return, what does it want from the druid? Right? What does the druid have that the sky might want? What? It's the PSD. It's the 1500s. Well, actually, it's closer to 8000 BC, but good guess. Oh, the sky would just want to observe by your shoulder? You've got to babysit. You've got to babysit for the sky. Except you're babysitting the sky. Um, cause okay, let's start small and get bigger. A fire. What does fire want? Wants to burn bright and strong, right? So naturally, it's going to want the druid to give up their strength. What do people want out of fire? Well, people generally want fire to make things hot, right? Sometimes it'll be bright. Sometimes you'll exchange the the fire's light for whatever. So it'll still be hot, but it'll be like dark. All right, now getting a little bigger. What do you want out of a tree? Well, generally you want a tree's like fortitude, right? But what does the tree want? The tree wants to grow tall and get all the nutrients it can. So you'd probably exchange health for durability there. So you'd like be more susceptible to illness for a time, but you'd also be like tougher. Um What does a cloud want? A cloud. Hmm. Because a cloud can very easily start being a cloud and stop being a cloud. Because of how water vapor turns into clouds at some points, and then clouds can dissipate. So, hmm. You should realize you've been fixating on this one layer. The sky should be more the most benevolent. Because if you look at the most beautiful things or pictures, generally sunset or sunrise, meaning it collabs with the sun, I feel like it just want you to slow down and live a better life. I mean, yes and no. Because one thing that sort of stuff is there's also the day and the sun that operates there. What does the sky want from you? Because the sky, it's its own thing, right? I mean, for you to slow down and live a better life, that's great in the long run, but that all of that long run stuff, man, y'all are going crazy with the reactions. All of the long run stuff is fi magic. You make a promise to the other party, and then that promise fuels a magical source, which gives you magic powers that in, you can use to fulfill the promise. Druidic magic is you're giving this thing, and then while you're giving this thing, you're receiving this other thing. So for the fire, you exchange your strength for the heat. You offered a finite amount of strength. Likewise, fire offered a finite amount of heat. 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. That's exactly right. Don't you forget it. Um, the sky wants while you're flying. Hmm. This is a good. I don't know what the sky wants. What does the sky want? What does it want from you? What does it want from me? I mean, sure, it wants me to fly and be detached, to be up in the air, because that's what it did with birds. But that's a one-sided thing, and that's not how Druid Exchange works. The sky wants to give radiation, though. That's the sun specifically. It depends on the thing. In this book, everything's got its own motives. So it wants action. It wants to be where all the things are. So the druid is where the all the things are. So the sky would then have to get like closer down to the ground. Would it be heavier? But if that's the case, if there's just more atmospheric pressure now, that's gonna mess up everything everywhere. The world ain't gonna like the world isn't gonna let that happen. Oh. In return, it gives power. Yeah, but what kind of power? You trade your time to be with it. How would the sky use that time? Is my point. I don't know. Maybe we'll come back to this. We'll come back to all of this. I'm gonna throw the sky over there. Let's actually start. It wants you to be there because it's lonely. I don't know. A sight power. I guess the world gives knowledge, so yeah, the sky could give sight because it's seeing all of the stuff happen. But again, it's already giving flight. Like the sky is already giving you flight. What does it want from you? Like it sees also you see something you want, right? But it already gives flight. It already gives sight. Like all of these things are things that it is giving to you. What does it want from you? What is the druid giving up? It's got to be something like finite and tangible and usable. I don't know. We'll come back to it. Let's craft up the creation myth. So the druids trying to like test out their powers, interacting with the world. It happens more often than you think. Um, would find that the world doesn't really need a lot from them, or it's not really willing to do the exchange with druids. It doesn't seem much use, right? Because yeah, I mean, sure, if something's really going down, then it'll be more likely to like get you to rent out your body for it to be have like an avatar in the world to be able to do stuff. But that doesn't happen long enough for this to be worth it. So the world is very busy. It would get the druids would get the sense that the world has delegated stuff. So when the druids talk about this to the everyone else, then everyone else can sort of interpret that as, all right, what's actually happening? Oh, hold on. Versus what the people think. So the world is very busy making sure everything is running smoothly. So the people are going to think that the world has some grand design that it monitors what's happening. The world delegates a lot of its abilities, or not necessities, delegates a lot of fate, I guess. I don't know. It's got to happen, right? Quicksand has to do quicksand things. Trees have to do tree things. They got to provide shade. Mushrooms got to make sure all of the stuff goes back into the soil, nitrogen fixation and all that. Water has to flow from to the ocean to make sure everyone's got water to drink. So instead of the world doing all of those things, it gives it to the object so they can do all of it. All of its responsibilities to lesser forces. Sky since Sky wants to be busy, the world's just a manager. Yeah, Sky is kind of boring actually. But it wants to be fun. It wants action. It just doesn't it the Sky doesn't get a lot of action, alright? Another tortoise self-insert. God. Uh I said it first, you guys didn't get the chance. Alright, so what people think that the world made everything to the world made everything to not complete, to fulfill this design. All right. I didn't even think of that. You just mocked yourself. That's right. That's right. Who do you think taught you how to do it? So, the sky, they would interpret a lot of things as children of the world, but it would also recognize that the sky is separate. So, the day and the night and the sun and the moon and birds and stuff, all of that stuff belongs to the sky. Clouds, all of those belong to the sky. So the people would interpret that as like it being the sky's children, even though that the sky is simply just the area where all that stuff happens. Hmm. Perhaps weather? Oh, that wouldn't make sense. Um, well, the sky has stuff to do with weather. All right. We've hit 2 hours, but I want to actually get like a story going. So, let's start doing the creation myth. In the beginning, I'm gonna actually call the world by its like full government name here, which would be uh the absolutive Sewodos. Story time. So in the beginning, Sewodos had stuff to do. I mean, yeah, change the weather, but I realized that doesn't work because it deals with giving the druid the power to change the environment, like calling a storm. I'm sure we can work something out with that. There is a word for start, right? Start. They have a word. Seriously, there's a word for finish, but not a word for start. That's annoying. Um. Oh, there is a word for start. Yeah. So, in the beginning, Sewados had many tasks. In the beginning, Sewados had many tasks. No, they would think of Sewados having a grand design. This isn't the first language. There's more. How many more? Well, in this introduction, okay. Let's go back to the other one. Legacy workspace here. I go to Portable Vrick. This here, and don't worry, chat. We'll get into this. Uh, no, there's not. Sting. No, I don't think there's anything here. Go to the plot. Child doesn't. Damn. Nope, nothing there. Could end up as a draft. He had this big plan out before. I'm not gonna like throw it all away, right? a lot of the reason that I would have been able to get all of this stuff going so fast is because I already had a plan before. I'm learning from my mistakes. So I'm not gonna say that Seodos had many tasks. Instead, had a grand design. We'll just use the exact words there. Seodos had a grand design. There was nothing the world. This is a lot harder than I thought it'd be. In the beginning, Seodos had a grand design. First, the land emerged from the sea. World got bored and bada bing, bada boom, he made some stuff and water happened. um. Plants grew from the soil so that the animals had food. Move all this down. I don't know why I'm reading my own comment in a Mafia accent. World got bored, and bada bing, bada boom. He made some stuff and water happened. Ain't that right, boss? Alright. Plants grew from the soil, so the animals had food. The sky came down to see what was going on. There were people running around. This is dumb. This seems dumb. I don't like this. Um I'm gonna leave this one off here. We've already hit the 2 hours. And I'm gonna think on this for a week. And hopefully when I come back next time, I'll have a better idea what's going down. I'm looking at getting a job soon. So my streaming schedule might be all sorts of donked up. We'll figure it out and play it by ear. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you think I deserve any of those things, or don't if you think I don't and delight in the sight of my suffering. Make sure you ring the notification bell on your way out. She works very hard informing you of the 3 times a year I actually upload something. All of it is done. Welcome to Imposter Syndrome. What do you mean, welcome? I've lived here my whole life. Say bye to Gilbert on your way out. Okay, what job? I'm looking at this clock shop. I don't know, like retail or something. I should tell you my full home address while I'm at it too. But maybe my credit card number and the goofy numbers at the back. Yeah. Y'all have a good one. I'll see you next week. Or Friday. Or both. Alright, bye.